everyone. My name is Sushmita Datta and I welcome you for today's session on design thinking. So let's get started and understand what exactly is design thinking. I'm sure many of you would have heard about this design thinking concept, heard about innovative thinking because it is the big fad nowadays, isn't it? I am sure many of you would want to learn more about design thinking, and that is what we are doing here today. We are going to learn about what design thinking is as a concept and how you can use that in your business or in your profession to take yourself, your professional life to a next level. So let's get started. To start with, what is design thinking? In a layman's language, design thinking is an innovative way of problem solving. It is the way which has human-centered element in it. And that human-centered element actually gives your product or your services. It will take it to a next level. That is what is design thinking. In this, there are different steps which when applied well, you will be able to take your product to a next level. Or else you can actually create a new product which will be totally human-centered. So let me explain. So let me tell you what is human-centered product. Human-centered product is nothing but the product which people would want to buy, which people, your customers per se, will think that it is the product they have created for themselves. So what can be better than that? If a product is human-centered and your customer thinks that it is exactly built for me, will they not buy it? Of course they would. And that is where design thinking comes in play. If you apply the principles of design thinking well and in a proper way, you can create a customer favorite product. I have done it for myself and many of my students have done that too. So let's understand what are the different paths of design thinking. As you can see from the photo that I have already shared, it has 5 paths. The first is, it starts with empathy, empathizing with people. That is the first element of creating a very successful product. What is empathy? Empathy is learning from people what they really want. Empathizing is when you talk to people, when you observe them, when you understand them, when you engage with them, you will know what really they want. Let me tell you something. When you are working on your product, to make it successful, the first thing is you need to talk to your customers. Google survey forms works to some extent, but it won't give you the real need of people. You need to interact with people. If you do not interact with them, if you do not engage with them, it will not be possible for you to actually understand what they want. If they are just telling you what they want over a form or some, when you ask some survey kind of a thing, it's like majority of the time, I am not saying that it is of no use. It can be used to collect good data and do a market research very well. But when you really want to know what they want, imagine for yourself, if you are given to fill up form, even in your office, the best example is employee satisfaction form that every company gives, every organization gives to their employee. Do you really fill it with all your true emotions? No, nobody does. When I was working, I never did that. And that's okay. So, do you think people, if you just give them to fill up the survey form, they will fill it for you with authentic need of theirs? No. Let me tell you from my years of experience, they won't. But what can you do? Here, you can approach to them, you can talk to them. See, talking is effortless. And when you talk to people, you really learn what they want. And to give you steps here, let me tell you, when you are empathizing with people, let me cut out the hard word, when you are talking to people to learn more about what they want. You need to do 3 things, which I recommend is very important. That is, first is you have to observe. Second is you have to engage with them. And the third is you have to understand them. See, you have to be very much observant about what they say. Sometimes what they say and what they want may not be the same. I will give you an example. I'm sure you are waiting for that. I will give you an example and tell you a story to make your understanding very concrete. But before that, let me tell you what it is. Then observe. After observe, engage. Once you have observed their non-verbal language, like sometimes they will say something, but they will mean something else. And that can be done through the observation of their body language, of their, like the way they speak it out. Sometimes, let me tell you, if you ask a customer saying that, what kind of a shampoo do you want for yourself, which you would love to use on a regular basis for your hair, they will be like, I want hair fall control. That's okay. Yeah, something like that. See, here, see my facial expression. I'm not serious about whether I really want hair fall control or not. It's just that I have to give you an answer, so I'm giving it. But someone, the other person says, I really need a shampoo for my hair fall because I'm suffering from it since long. I have bald patch and I really feel bad about it. So now tell me, your observation for the empathy in the empathy technique will actually help you figure out who really wants what. The first person doesn't really want the hair fall control shampoo. The second person really wants it, who will actually become your customer if you choose to create that product. Now, second is engage. Engage means you have to understand and learn their real need. And when you are observing, how will you engage at the same time? Tell me. Let me tell you. When you engage yourself, it's like asking questions. As simple as that. You don't have to worry about asking questions. See, you are on a journey to create a product which will earn you fortune, which will be your customer favorite. You must have questions. And your questions will be arising when you will be in talking with those potential customers of yours. So ask question, dig deep, ask them what they need, why they need that. Like I'll again give you the same example. A person, he really wants our second customer, he really wants the shampoo for hair fall control. But what kind of shampoo he or she wants? Does the person want a shampoo which is just going to help him or her in their hair fall and it's done? Or the same person wants the shampoo which helps them definitely in the basic need, which is hair fall, but at the same time they don't want a shampoo which makes their hair very rough. They want a shampoo which makes their hair soft as well. So now, by asking them question, you know that what what kind of feature they are expecting in their product. So now you know that your customer wants a shampoo. Definitely his or her basic need is hair fall control. But at the same time, they want something to make their hair feel good, soft, silky. So you have to keep these 2 points in consideration when you are working on your product. The third is understand. Understand is the same thing. Like once you engage, you ask question, you will understand them, what they really need and want. Like I told you, the example that we just learned is a biggest example for you to understand what they want by engaging and observing your potential customers. So I'm sure your understanding on empathizing with your customer when you are creating your product is now pretty clear. So now let's move on to our next step of the design thinking process, which is define. So what is define? So now you know that what your customer wants, but you have a lot of things actually. You have taken notes, you have done talking, survey, and yes, when you are empathizing, you should take note. Definitely. So next is, it is in defining stage, you actually perceive the problem and the challenges that your potential customers are now facing. And in this stage, you will learn different aspects of your product, what they want, what your customer wants. So you will now work again and again to understand and learn, perceive more about, understand the problems they are facing from the product that you are considering to create, from the product they want actually. So this can be done, defining stage, this can be done by basically visualizing. Visualizing actually helps you and your team to have a thorough walkthrough of the problem and then examining the problem very, very closely. And once you have examined the problem very closely, you will learn more about it. You will have a lot of ideas. And yes, when I say about idea, we will be talking about it just in some 5 or 10 minutes. It's the next step. So yes, moving on to our point, what we are discussing, that is the defining part of the design thinking process. So the next thing is brainstorming. Brainstorming is a well-known thing throughout the industry. Everyone knows about it. It is a very good way to actually understand and define your problem. You have to, brainstorming cannot be done alone. It is preferred if you do it with a team, because in brainstorming session, if you have a team of people, it has been done for all the organization whenever they're working on a product or services they want to create, which they want their customers to really love and buy from them. Brainstorming will give you ideas, because when 4 or 5 people sit together and they look at the same need of the customer and understand the problems they want to solve, all the people will see a particular problem in a very different way. And that will give you a lot of ideas and understanding about what really the problem is and how that problem can be solved. Having said that, how? Let's move on to our next point of the design thinking process, which is idea generation. See, now you have all the problems in front of you. You have brainstormed, your team has brainstormed, and you have understood that these are the problems and we need to work on all these problems to create our product. Right? Now you know that what does your customer want and what are the problems that they are really facing. So now you need to generate ideas. Again, idea generation is again a teamwork. See, you have to sit together to learn and understand what all ideas can be there. What all things can we make? What kind of product which can we make to actually target our audience to something that they really want. And ideas, let me tell you, when you are generating ideas, one thing which is most important is, I always tell this to all my students, and never ever think that any idea is not worthy. Don't just write it down, pen it down. You don't have to actually accept an idea, right? This is just a process where you are keeping on generating. This is an idea generation process. Do not filter anything. Take my word, do not filter anything. Just whatever pops in your mind or in the mind of your team, pen it down. And yes, pen it down. Write it down. Because if you don't, the whole process of becoming together, working as a team and working to create ideas will go nowhere. So write it down, and then once you have written it, you will now have a lot of things in front of you to actually give your thoughts into it. So once you have all the ideas in front of you, you can now divide them and give them and just segregate them in terms of their importance. Like some ideas are just like, okay, it sounds okay, but it is not something that suffice all the needs that our customer have, or it doesn't solve all the problems that our potential customer has. So out of the ideas, all the ideas you have, now you will tone it down. You will now have only few ideas, like 2 or 3, whatever you think you want to work on. So once you have all the ideas in front of you, the ones that you now really think are the ones that you want to work on when creating your product, this is the time we move to our product creation. Wow, that's the fun time, right? Yes, it is. But product creation doesn't mean that you have to create a lot of products. No, it is a prototype. So in design thinking term, in innovative terms, it is a prototype creation. This is the 4th step. And in prototype creation, you create prototype. Like I'll tell you, out of all the ideas, you have now taken 3 ideas. And you create prototype of these 3 ideas only, or 2 ideas. And even if you have 1, that's okay. You create prototype. It is the process that you do before a mass production. Because see, you have created a product which is the customer favorite. You have done all the empathizing thing. You have done everything as per the book and even more. But my dear friends, we are in the real world. Things change and problem arise at the last minute. So you don't want to waste a mass production. You don't want to waste so much money. So what you have to do is, you have to create few prototypes which you are going to test on the customers. So the last thing is, that is the last point, which is the fifth point in the design thinking concept, is prototype testing. You create prototypes and then you test it. This is your real world learning of how your product is perceived, is being taken by your customer. Do they love it? Is it not good? Even if they wanted the same thing, where did we miss what? That is where you learn the real time learning about the prototype that you have created, about the product. And there you will learn about how you need to make changes to make it successful. Let me tell you a story here, because I'm sure when you listen to this story, you will have a clear understanding of how it works and why it is critically important for you. So let me tell you that. So there was this village in Nepal, and this village had a very high infant mortality rate. So the government, they actually spoke with world-renowned design thinking leaders. So they asked for help, and these people, they allocated a team of experts, design thinkers, to actually work on that particular problem of infant mortality for that particular village. So these people are now ready. They know their problem. Let me tell you, they know their problem, right? You will be surprised. They know their problem now, that it is infant mortality rate is very high. It is around 70%. But when they goes there, they talk to people. Empathy. They learn. They observe. They engage with people, and they learn that the hospital where the infants were born, the village is around 70 kilometers from the hospital. And my friends, the weather is freezing. So they learned that it is not that the children are born with some defect, or there is even the healthy children, even the healthy infants, they cannot make it because they are so little. And when they have to travel after their birth for 70 kilometers, it's hard for them. And sometimes for premature birth children, there is another problem. Then they learn that, okay, if there is a problem in the travel, why can't we keep the children for a few days in the hospital in a warm place? So they learn that in the hospital, they don't have more incubators for the children, for the infants. So for the premature birth, it is again a huge problem of not having more incubators. So they had no other choice than leaving these children to go to their home, because they were all helpless. It's not that they didn't want to help, it's just that they can't. So once you learn, so now I told you, right, that take my word, that understanding, knowing the problem also is not the solution. So here it is. The team of experts knew the problem, but when they actually engaged and understood and observed people, they really learned the real problems in the real world. And when you see the real problem in the real world, you have to work in a very different way. It's no more books. It's a practical life that you will be facing, right? So what they did is, they did brainstorming, they came up with lots of ideas. So now in the problem solving space, now they know what their customers want. They want something which can save their children. That's it. Second is, now they know the problems. There are many problems, right? The problem, infant mortality rate. Then the problem is not having more money to buy more incubators. Then the third is the distance. Fourth is the climate. But then they have to work on generating a product which will solve the core problem, which is infant mortality rate, and considering all the other problems in mind. So they have to now work on the product which is affordable by everyone, which is cheap, and which will help them in traveling also. It should not be only the one which is only specific to the hospital. It has to be something for the people to carry their infants. So they came up with the idea where they created infant warmer. So it is an expensive infant warming bag. You can search on Google, you can see how it is. There are many examples of many photos of that. So they created this infant warmer. In that, the baby will be warm and they can easily travel to their home. Now they have the prototype. So they created the prototype. They distributed among the villagers. But still, what happens is, still the mortality rate was not coming down. So they were like, what did we do? See, they created the prototype, right? Now, this is the testing phase they are in. And their test failed, right? Because their purpose was not solved. And it's okay. And there you learn the real-time deal. There you learn what you have to do just right to get your product, to make your product a hit. So what they did, they again went to the first step, that is empathy. And they observed, they spoke with people, they learned from them that why it is not helping you guys. This is perfect. I mean, this is what will save your baby. Then they learned that this particular product, they were so scared to use because they could not actually see the face of their baby. See, traveling 70 kilometers is not an easy thing for new parents with their baby covered their face. They are anyhow scared, right? So then they learned that that was the main reason. Even if they were getting it, they were not using it. And if you don't use your product, definitely it won't help, right? So now what they did is, they reworked on the product. What they did is, they changed the face, that portion of the face, they made it with transparent material. They placed some plastic or something so that the parents can now view, can see their children breathing, see their children sleeping, see their face and be comfortable. And there it made all the difference and the product is a huge success. So I'm sure from the story you now understand how it is so important to engage with your customers. See, we all have 100 ideas when we have our business, when we are working, but not all ideas. Maybe you have idea which you think is the best on the face of this earth. And I'm saying it is. And I'm not saying it is not. It is probably the best idea on the face of the earth. But is that idea or is that product is wanted by your customers? Do they really want it? If your customer doesn't want it, then it doesn't matter whether the idea is the best on the face of the earth or not. Because at the end of the day, you're not making money out of it. And if you're not making money out of it, then what's the point? Until and unless you are a NGO and you are not working towards making any money. So leave that apart, jokes apart. But yes, this is why understanding the design thinking concept is so important. And I'm sure you have now understood the importance of design thinking to create a customer favorite product. So let's go on With it, one more time, design thinking has 5 steps, 5 major steps. It is empathy, then, yes, define, then ideate, then prototype creation, and finally prototype testing. So ask me questions about it. I know many of you have a lot of questions by now about how you can apply design thinking concept in your own business, how you can use it if you are in a managerial level in your company, and if you are in a deciding authority of an organization, and if you are working closely with a product. You are very much concerned definitely about how you can implement the concepts and the principles of design thinking to have a customer favorite product. Write to me. Just feel comfortable. We are there at Skill Stretch. We are there to help you. As I always tell you, your success is our priority. So write to me, and I promise to reply to each and every one of you. And I have a course on design thinking. It has 30,000 plus students, and it is one of the best selling courses that I have at present, and I will definitely share the link with you guys, and you guys can take a look at it, and I'm sure you will be benefited as all the other students have from it. So write to me, learn, and shine like a star. With that, we are done with today's session on the concept of design thinking, and I will wait to hear from you. It was amazing teaching you all, and yes, we are done for today, and see you for our next session. Tell me, write to me, what do you want for our next session for me to speak so that it will be helpful for you. See you. A very happy weekend for all of you, and to your success. My name is Sushmita Datta, and a very happy weekend. Thank you very much.